Hello, Claude.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about your feelings throughout this entire creative process.
Well, through the process, we were creating a lot of different ideals with our ability to do fast prototyping with our lasers and various other machines we have here. We kind of run through a lot of ideals. At the very beginning, you feel kind of overwhelmed because, you know, the Louvre is such an iconic place with the dome. It's so incredible that you have so many ideals running. It was hard to really settle on one ideal. But as we started going through the process, things started becoming more clear as we started developing and watching the product as it came out, seeing how it looked, how it felt, how it played with the lights and the shadows. It started to become really evident, and it kind of really just formed itself as it came out.
Okay, so what did you feel like when we got, or when you saw that they were looking for these creative products?
I was excited because I'm in love with the dome of the Louvre, and I became a member of Louvre immediately when I came to Abu Dhabi, and I've been visiting it and bringing all my friends and families to Louvre every time, and we would hang out underneath the dome at different times of the day. So when I saw this opportunity to create a product for the museum, I jumped at it, and because I love the architecture and the experience that it gives visitors, and I would love to be involved in the process of making a piece of the dome that visitors could bring home. You came up with the deconstruction idea with the layers of the dome. How did you come up with it?
So I took the star pattern, base pattern of the dome, and then I just started to play with it in various scales and turning orientations of it. And as I started to play with it, I started to see the pattern just kind of unveil to me. It's like, wow, there it is. It was a pattern of about 6 or 7 when it started to look like the dome. We deconstructed it out to 4 because that's a little bit, we thought 6 or 7 layers deep was a little complex. So I needed to simplify the pattern a little bit to be able to take it from that giant, beautiful dome scale into a scale that is more suitable for someone to take home with them. And we thought 4 layers was a good amount of layers and size to actually develop a product around. And that's kind of how the pattern came about.
What do you think the element of the sunlight has on your project?
Sunlight and artificial light, the lighting condition of the dome is key. Look at the shadow that sunlight casts through these layers of geometry onto the table. And the fact that we can move this, it makes this piece of art piece alive. At the Louvre, you notice the change of colors throughout the day also gives an identity to different time of the day, give the spatial experience a different vibe. From bright sunlight at noon to a more lavender purple color during sunset, it's that spectrum of color adds so much variety in the experience of the visitor. What about the stand, the way to display it? Can you tell us a little bit about the design of the stand?
Yeah, well, we're both from a aviation development, construction background. So it's something we hold near and dear to our heart. And the construction of the dome was extremely difficult and such an incredible feat. Very much admired it, but one of the key elements of that construction was the cranes that pop out, able to place the different sections into place. We wanted to bring an element of that to our product because after all, we were paying homage to the creation of the dome and how the dome actually created the space. So we wanted to add in the element to hold the coasters with the construction crane that's on the coming through the space there. And it just worked out perfect. It cast its own shadow in itself, and it made a great addition and the most perfect way to hold the coasters and get them up at a good height and elevation for the consumer to have it as a good display.
So,
one thing where I was first at was I love the dome at night. When you see the dome and the lights, the interior lights from the dome shining out, because it does a reverse thing. During the day, the light kind of comes in onto the dome, into the space, but at night, the lights from inside shine out, and it has a much bigger effect, a broader effect across a larger amount of people because it's emanating out. So my first ideal was a candle. When lit, it glows, and then the pattern actually glows through it. I believe this is still a beautiful ideal. I still would love to execute this ideal, but it was one of the many ideals we had. Of course, we talked about doing jewelry pieces, which is a great thing for people to take home and wear them all the time. And then the jewelry piece is one thing that started leading us to looking at the shadows and something that we wanted to really capture into the shadows there. We looked at just an etch, which just an etch through, which these are solid pieces, but it takes the design, deconstructs it into its layers, and actually brings them together, which can cast that beautiful iconic shadow there, as you can see it. The function of the product we were creating, with it being a coaster, and the aesthetics of the looks that we got out of it, that it functioned like the dome itself. We kind of ended up at this spot, but yeah, we've had a ton, and probably a couple that that we don't have here. We had a ton of ideals, but thanks to our fast time prototyping, we were able to execute those ideals quickly, see the ones we liked, what we didn't like, what we liked about some and wanted to change, and adapt it to get to the product that we're at.